Doing that live.
Welcome to the Vault Excel. Thank you for joining me. This is live number 2. This is an exclusive interview with Miss Emily. She is the granddaughter of Katrina Spurlock. She and some of the relatives believe there is a nefarious dealings pertaining to the death of her grandmother. I'm going to let her speak to the chat to tell us what she believes happened to her grandmother. So, Miss Emily, you start at the beginning of the day you found out your grandmother was no longer alive.
Okay, so she had went grocery shopping with a couple of her friends, and then the next thing we know, nobody can get a hold of her. Nobody's talked to her. Nobody has seen her, and then come to find out, they had taken her to a fire station in Quarrington and dropped her off, and they said that she was unresponsive. So then they left her there at the fire station and they then stole her car. And then that's when the ambulance came and took her to Tenova Medical Center, where
And tell
she
the
was.
audience how far Corrington, Tennessee is from where your grandmother lived at the time.
Okay, so my grandmother lives in Quarrington.
Okay, she lives. Okay, so that's fine.
Yeah, and so the fire station that they took her to is probably about 15 minutes from her house.
Okay, so in Knoxville,
Yes.
where? Fountain City or North Knoxville?
Yes, Fountain City. It's the fire station right beside Central High School.
About a high school. Okay.
So she arrived at the hospital and was pronounced deceased at 4:37 p.m. But then, of course, her family didn't know until about 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock p.m. Because nobody had notified us and we had no idea that any of this had even happened.
Okay. So how were you notified that your grandmother had passed?
So we had been calling around to different hospitals just trying to see if there had maybe been an accident or if she was
Because you
there.
didn't hear from her. She would answer.
Exactly, because she wouldn't answer her phone, and that was not like her.
Okay.
So we had called Tenova, and they said they called back and said that they had a person that was unidentified, and then it ended up being her.
Okay. So describe what happened when you got to the hospital.
So when I got to the hospital, we waited and a couple of nurses came down and spoke with us. But they said that we could not see her because she did not have an ID on her and that she had not been, identified yet. And they technically didn't know 100% who she was, so that we could not see her yet. So we just spoke with them for a few minutes and then we ended up having to leave.
You had to leave.
Yes. So when we got there, they told us that she didn't have any ID on her.
Okay.
So they told us that we couldn't see her or identify her because she was technically still considered a Jane Doe. So that we couldn't see her because she had been there, without anybody, any family, because we didn't know, that she was even there.
Yeah, several hours.
Yes, yes.
Interesting. Okay, what happened next?
Well, then we started driving around looking for her vehicle because at that point it was still missing.
So where were you
Um,
driving around?
so we drove from Tenova Hospital, which is off of Emory Road in Knoxville. We
Yes.
drove to Quarrington,
Okay.
and that's where we found her vehicle. It was parked at the Exxon in Quarrington, Tennessee, just left there, So when we seen it, we drove over there and we immediately called the police, because her vehicle had been stolen.
So what time of day did you find the car?
We found the car at about 1 a.m.
So it's amazing nobody even tried to get in the car to do anything.
Yeah, definitely,
Was the
because
store open? Was the store open?
the gas station was open,
Okay.
but at that point, there's a Mexican restaurant right there too, but it was already closed.
Okay.
But yeah, the gas station was open.
Did you talk to anybody in the gas station about seeing anybody going in and out of the car and who pulled up in the car?
So I did go inside and I spoke with one of the girls that was working, but she told me that she couldn't release any video footage or anything because her manager wasn't there.
Of course.
So then I asked her if she's seen anybody, and she said no.
Okay.
But then at the Mexican restaurant, there is a man who works there who's seen her car dropped off.
Okay, so exactly where is it parked in proximity to the gas station? In front, in a parking space, to the side, or what?
So the gas station, there's a Mexican restaurant on the right side of it. So
Mm-hmm.
the car was parked like facing away from the Mexican restaurant in a parking
Okay.
place. It's parked
Okay.
towards the State Farm, yeah, because there's also a State Farm there too.
Okay. So not exactly close to the store, or no?
Just on the side of the store.
The store. So you think they were trying to conceal it?
It definitely looked like it because it was
Okay.
parked like in one of the back parking spots.
So you approach the car at 1 a.m. What do you find the state of the car inside and outside?
So we called the police and we didn't touch anything because they said that it was considered a crime scene.
Okay.
So when they got there, they proceeded to search the vehicle, and they found her car keys were pushed underneath her driver's side seat, and her cell phone was sitting up in the middle console, and then
Was it visible or put? You know how you got the flip and you.
oh, it
Okay.
was visible. It
Okay.
was visible. It was just sitting there, just up like in front of the gear
Very
shifter.
amazing. Phone ringing inside of a car unattended. Anybody could have opened the door and stole the phone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead.
So then, they just kind of kept looking through the car, and the only thing that was really in there that they seen was just her phone, her keys, a couple of pieces of her clothing. There was one of her shoes in the vehicle.
Okay.
We did
Pieces
find
of her
one of her shoes.
clothing. I mean to interrupt you, but pieces of her clothing. What do you mean?
Well, there was a sweater that she had worn like that day, and it was in the trunk. But then after the police left, they told us that we could just take her vehicle with us. And we were looking through it, and there was a needle cap
Mhm.
in the floorboard in the driver's side in the back seat.
Okay.
And, she did not shoot up drugs. She wasn't, some needle junkie or something.
Okay. Did she have issues with drugs before in her past?
So in her past, she did have some problems, but for the past 2 years, she has been completely clean and sober.
Okay.
So she's been, on the straight and narrow. And like, she raised me and my three siblings. The whole time, she was not on drugs. She just had a small hiccup, 4 years ago, and then that was it.
Okay. Has she ever been in a treatment facility?
No.
Okay. So she got off of drugs on her own?
Yes.
Okay. 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 Where do you think the cap came from? And where's the needle that went to the cap, do you think?
So I don't know 100% where the cap came from. I don't know if it was maybe the people who was with her. Maybe they were using drugs
Using
at the time.
in her
Like,
car.
yes, that's what I'm thinking. Or maybe, who knows, maybe they, because she died somehow, and she was perfectly healthy the last time we seen her. So we don't know exactly what happened.
So you're saying previous drug problem, no knowledge of her currently using at the time of her demise, finding a needle cap in the back seat, right? Back floorboard of the car.
Yes. Yes.
Do you believe that they injected her with some type of narcotic?
Possibly.
Okay.
I
Are
know there
they
was
friends?
definitely some foul play for
Okay.
sure.
So you do believe there was foul play. Are
Yes.
these two known drug users?
Yes.
Okay. What are the ages of the two people that were in the car with her that she picked up?
I think the female, I think she's in her 40s, and then her boyfriend probably around the same age or maybe a little bit older.
I don't know. I thought she was younger. Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting. 40s.
maybe like very late 30s, but definitely
Okay.
close to
That's fine.
40s.
So they assess the car. What do you do after they leave the car? Did they take the car with them, the police?
No, they left it with us because Katrina's husband was there, my grandmother's husband, my grandfather. So they released it to him.
I see.
So it was after the police left that we then found the needle cap. And then after we found it, we called them and told them about it. And they told us that we could dispose of it.
So they wait a minute. So you found the cap after they looked at the car?
Yes.
That makes no sense to me.
So it wasn't really searched very thoroughly, but I don't even know if they looked in the back. I just know they looked in the front, and like once they found her phone and everything, they were like, "Well, you guys can take it." And then we started, really looking, and then that's when they found the needle cap.
Do you wish you had let them take it and had it thoroughly examine the car?
Yes, I do. Yes. Yeah, and we kind of like was hoping and thinking that's what they were gonna do.
Okay.
But then that ended up not happening.
Okay. Did you get to see your grandmother in the morgue at the hospital? Did you get to see her body and everything?
No.
Why not?
At the hospital, they told us that we could not see her because she did not have an ID on her,
Okay, because
and that
you mentioned that at first. Okay.
yes.
So how did you get to see her?
Well, I didn't see her again until at her funeral.
Uh,
Yeah, my sister's here with me
what?
now.
Okay, so did the husband get to see her at the morgue?
No.
I don't understand.
Come to find, yeah, she had her ID the whole time.
So yeah, because the Tenova hospital told us that she didn't have her ID on her, so they didn't know who she was. Well, come to find out, when she got to the medical examiner's office, she did have her ID. It was in her bra.
Okay.
So at the hospital, when we got there, we asked if we could see her, and they said, no, you can't see her because one, she doesn't have an ID on her, and two, she's been here for so many hours, so she's just going to go to the morgue. So yeah, they would not let us see her because technically she was still considered a Jane Doe.
Okay, at the hospital. So there's a chain of
Yes.
command. Hospital, then the morgue. But I thought the morgue is at the hospital.
I thought that too, but I guess then they just sent her to the medical examiner's office, and then
That's
they
at
never.
where UT?
It's somewhere in Knoxville. I don't know if it's at UT or not. I just know it's the medical examiner's office, the Knoxville medical examiner's office. But I mean, they didn't even really give us the option to see her there.
So you couldn't see her at the hospital to verify that she was the grandmother, and then you couldn't see her at the morgue because she's considered a giant. I'm just confused. Then how would somebody be able to verify to say yes, that's my mother, my sister, whomever? I don't understand.
So there was
The doctor searched for us on Facebook.
there was a nurse there that. So when we called and asked if she was there, the nurse started looking her up on Facebook, my grandmother up on Facebook by her name, and then found my sister's profile. And then that's when he messaged my sister.
There was an anonymous call come through the hospital.
Because it's very confusing. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I mean, because I'm just trying to understand, how did they think somebody was going to identify her without looking at her?
I think that the nurse matched her pictures on Facebook possibly, and he asked my sister about her tattoos and how to identify her and stuff.
Oh, so she had tattoos. Okay.
So yeah.
Did you tell her about the guy calling the hospital?
Okay. So after that, the nurses found the sister. Sister was notified. Then what happened?
So after she was notified, we then went to the first place we went was to the fire department.
Okay.
Because we knew that was the last place that she was, and that maybe the firefighters could, identify her for us and identify the vehicle for us. So we went there, we rang the doorbell, we spoke to multiple firefighters, and they told us just, couldn't tell us much because of HIPAA. But they did identify the vehicle that she was dropped off in, and it was, in fact, her vehicle. So we spoke to them at the fire department, and then we went down to the hospital and spoke with them. And then when we left there, that's when we found her car, and then the police came out and talked to us, and then they left, and then that was pretty much it.
Did you ask the firefighters the state of your grandmother at the time of her arrival and who was with her when she got there?
Yes. So I did ask them about who was with her, and they said that it was a female and a male. there is a police report, and even the police report says there was a unidentified female that came to the door for help, and the male was in the driver's side of the car. And when the firefighters came out, they, took her out of the back seat and started doing chest compressions because she was unresponsive.
Was she clothed?
Yes.
What did she have on?
Orange tank top.
She had on an orange tank top
White shorts.
and white shorts, and there was no shoes. She didn't have her shoes on.
One shoe.
And you did find one of the shoes inside of the car, correct?
Yes, one of the shoes were in the vehicle, but not the other one.
Stuffed under the seat, you said?
It was just in the back floorboard.
Black floor.
Yeah.
Did she normally let people drive her car?
No. If she was going to because she was supposed to be taking them grocery shopping.
Mm-hmm.
So if she was taking them grocery shopping, she would have just driven them. She never would have been like, hey, drive my car.
But she doesn't loan her car out. She's married.
Yes.
You said she was not using drugs to your knowledge.
No, she was not. And, she was with me and my sister and our kids almost every single day. Like she babysat for us. We went on vacation together, so we knew that she was, not doing that.
Who are these people? Do they live in Corrington?
Yes. The last we heard, they live in Luttrell.
And Luttrell is how far from Corrington?
It's like 5 minutes down the road. Yeah.
So we have two people, a guy and a girl. Katie is her name, and what's his name? Kendall. You believe that possibly there is foul play with this needle cap being found in the back of the car, back floorboard.
Yes.
Cops tell you to throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
This is still an ongoing investigation, correct?
Yes.
What is the last you've heard pertaining to the investigation?
Nothing. I finally got in touch with the correct unit or department, and they've turned it over to the overdose task force. And I called to speak with somebody, but I still haven't gotten a call back. So I've got to call them again.
Well, for those who don't know, we are in East Tennessee, and we have a law here in this state pertaining to being in the company of people when they overdose. And if you have given the drug, passed the drug along to the person, willingly, unwillingly, you can be charged with second-degree murder.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out why she was in the backseat of her car if she doesn't loan her car out and give her car to someone. And you also need to tell us the state of her hands at the time of you being able to see your grandmother.
Yes. So when we got to the funeral home to start making the arrangements for her hair and her makeup and everything, we told the funeral director that her hands should be okay because she just had her nails professionally done the day before. Well, the lady's face just completely changed. She was like, no, guys, her hands are in really bad shape. And she said one of her nails are completely broken off. And we were just shocked, because we thought, how could she break her nail that easily, if they were just done the day before, unless there was some sort of struggle, unless she in some way fought for her life.
Yes. Well, it sounds nefarious. Shoes off, backseat of a car. She's not known to loan her car out. Nails broken, just got her nails done the day before. Sounds like she possibly struggled with someone, or was possibly, maybe they were forcing themselves on her to restrain her, to inject her with something. And she was fighting back, and that's how she broke her nails. And you said that both sides of the hands, right and left, were broken nails.
Yeah, so one nail was completely broken on her left hand, and then there was another one on the right hand that was a little chipped, and both of her hands were bruised. And when I seen her, on the day of her funeral, I made sure to look at that fingernail, and it looked like it was just completely just like uplifted from the nail bed.
So she was fighting. She had been fighting because in order to break your own nail, maybe her real nails had grown under the fingernail, the fake nails. Mm-hmm. You have to be doing something to get that broke off, the nail and then the real nail.
Right. And I have my nails done, at a nail salon, and they're pretty strong,
Mhm.
especially the day after. Like they're not going to just, you
Pop
know,
off.
pop off like that. Yeah,
And not down to the skin, to the real nail anyway. We had
exactly.
a real nail that had grown to the length of the nail, of the fake nail.
Hmm.
Very, very peculiar information. Did you talk to the detectives about the nails and asked them, oh, I think something happened to my grandmother nefarious?
So I haven't really been able to get in touch with the right person because when I spoke with this person, they said, well, it's been handed over to this unit or this officer or this detective. And so then I would call and I'd be put on hold. So I have yet to be able to speak with the right person and tell them, hey, this is all the information that I have that I feel like you need, but I have yet to be able to really talk to anybody that I need to.
Did you take pictures of her hands?
No, I did not.
Oh, baby, I wish you had done that.
I know they did though at the medical examiner's office though. 'Cause
Okay.
they done an autopsy,
Okay.
so
Did
they
you see bruising on her body, upper, lower, midsection, anything? Was you because I don't know, were you able to see her unclothed at the funeral home?
no, I only seen her like at the viewing at the service.
So the
So
husband is the one that got her dress, had somebody dress her, or he gave the clothes to the funeral home.
yes, we gave the clothes to the funeral home and they dressed her. So none of us were able to even we probably should have done that. But when we at the funeral home, they said that she wasn't ready for us to see her yet
Okay.
again. So pretty
So,
much nobody would let us see her.
okay. So did the husband get to see the body?
No.
And I never heard of that.
Yeah, no. I haven't either. That's why this whole thing has just been just a mess. But yeah, none of us laid eyes on her until her service when
Because I,
she
I
was.
was with someone many years ago, a relative's mother, and she was under a sheet and she wasn't dressed when we went there to put her makeup on and do her hair.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm sure if we would have asked to be able to do that at the funeral home, we would have been able to. But at the
Mhm.
hospital, it was definitely, we couldn't see her because she wasn't identified.
Have you heard? Let's go back to her getting to the fire station and these people dropping her off there and what they did thereafter. Katie and Kendall. Katie Hall and Kendall Rittner.
So, whenever they pulled up to the fire hall, Katie ran out of the vehicle and went to get help. Kendall was in the driver's side. And when the firemen came out and got my grandmother out of the back of her vehicle, they then Katie got back in the vehicle and they drove off and said that they were going to tell her husband what had happened. And that never happened. None of us were notified.
No one was notified. Why do you think they did not notify the husband? Why would they lie?
Well, I think they were just saying what they could to get out of there because they knew that they were in trouble and something had gone wrong. And if they didn't get out of there quick, that they were going to be in trouble because the police were coming and the ambulance was coming, and
And there are cameras.
there are, yes.
Do you believe your grandmother was intentionally set up to be robbed?
I don't know if it was robbed. I don't know exactly what
It
it
was the
was.
first of the month, correct?
It was, yeah.
Did she receive any type of disability or social security payments?
She did, yeah. It was her social security check.
Did she have money on her?
She did, yeah.
Was
She
there
had
money missing?
Yes, she had $800 on her, and it was missing. When the funeral home only gave us $100 back, so there was $700 unaccounted for. So,
$700 unaccounted for. Where did $700 go, do you believe?
well, the last people who seen her alive were them, so I'm guessing with them.
So you don't think there's anything nefarious as far as the hospital, detectives, ambulance, or whomever, fire department stealing her money?
No, absolutely not. I definitely, yeah.
So you believe these people stole her money while in the car with her and then dropped her off at the fire station, bolted, then took her car, parked it in quarantine. And then the gist of the story is, how did they get from the gas station to wherever the hell they had to go?
Exactly. Somebody had to have come and maybe picked them
Pick
up.
them up, exactly.
Yeah.
Unless they walked.
Yeah, exactly.
What is your overall take on this situation with your grandmother, Miss Spurlock?
It's just really heartbreaking that something that devastating can happen to anybody, let alone, our grandmother. And I just wish that the people who done this would just
Tell the
come
truth.
forward, tell the truth. I mean, especially Katie. I mean, we grew up around Katie.
So you do know
So
her.
yes, we know her on a
Okay, I didn't
personal
know if
level.
you knew
Yes.
her well. Okay, so you grew up around her. Does Katie have children?
She does. She has two, I believe, but I don't think she has. Um, I don't think they're in her care.
They're not in her care. Why not?
Well, probably because of drugs.
I see. And then this Mr. Rittner's just a boyfriend, passerby.
I believe so. I think they're just dating or
Uh,
engaged or something. Yeah.
does she live on her own, Katie?
No, they live in a camper behind Kendall's mother's house.
How convenient.
Yes.
Well, as you've heard in my commentary when I first met you, it sounds foul.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds foul. Whether your grandmother participated in narcotics or not, it sounds foul to steal money, stuffing things under the driver's seat, one flip flop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the lady had no shoes on. You dump her out of her own car. Think how stupid this sounds. You dump her out of her own car, take her car, and say, "Oh, I'm going to call her husband." You never call him. You never call you or any other sisters, any other relatives. Then you drop the car off at a gas station and you leave there some type of way by foot or by another car. Monies are missing. And did I hear that she returned some of the money, or some money was returned?
She had $100 on her when we got to the funeral home. They gave it to us. They said, this is what she had
Oh,
on her.
the deceased grandmother had $100 on her.
Yes, yes, yes. Um,
Where
yeah.
was the money?
The money, the funeral home gave it back to us. So whenever I guess the medical
Oh,
examiner
you didn't ask her where it possibly was on her persons.
Okay, so probably no, they didn't say.
Where does she usually keep her money, your grandmama?
Normally in her bra. Her everything goes in her bra. Her money,
Okay.
her driver's license, her credit cards, in her bra.
Well, I'm hoping that there will be a positive resolution to this case.
Yes, me too. I definitely hope so.
Her having bruising and broken nails, no shoes on, is suspect. The fact that these people were in her car and she originally went to get them is suspect. They leave her out there at the fire department, then leave in her car, then dump her car at another location is suspect. Then she allegedly had money on her, your grandmother, and then she only has $100-something on her at the time. You get her things from the funeral home. It's very suspect. Is there anything missing from her house or anything like that you know of?
No, there's not. Her husband, he's usually always home because he's
Okay,
retired.
so they didn't risk going in the house to steal anything.
Right.
And keeping the car would be stupid because they would get caught in the car.
Yeah, exactly. So they, wherever they went from the time that they dropped her off at the fire station to the time that they dropped her car off, who knows? But, there's just so many unanswered questions. And, I don't know about anybody else, but if there was a person who was with me, a friend, a stranger, anybody, if they needed medical attention, I would take them to the emergency room.
To the emergency room.
Have an
And
ambulance
that's what's
pick
missing.
them up. Yes.
That's what's missing from the story, is that they did not take her to a hospital, which leads, once again, that there's suspect behavior. You're doing something you didn't have any business, and you didn't take her to a hospital. Who doesn't take their friend? Or better yet, you call 911 where you are.
Exactly. You don't take them and dump them off at a fire station and then steal their vehicle, But I'm hoping that, justice will be served, that we'll figure out exactly what happened, and that, this doesn't happen to anybody else. I mean, it's just a horrible thing.
What do you want, Emily, to happen, actually? What do you want to happen to the people involved that you believe are involved in this case? Do you believe a crime was committed against your grandmother?
Yes, absolutely. I do believe there was a crime. I do believe there was foul play.
Okay.
I do believe that, she had put up a fight, and then in the end she lost her life. But I just want them to be found and questioned and held accountable for whatever it is that they did. And if something can be, if charges can be pressed, then
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, I think that's probably what's going to happen. I have faith
I do
that
too.
the truth will come out one way or the other. And as
Yes.
I said, we have a law here pertaining to the selling and passing and sharing of narcotics. And in the commencement of this passing, sharing, selling, if a person passes away through an overdose, a person can be charged with second degree murder.
Hmm. And it's the overdose is just so horrible, and it happens to so many people, and it tears so many families apart, and so many people have lost loved ones. So
Yes, they have.
there's we can get awareness also, out there, in sharing my grandmother's story, getting her
Yes,
justice, but also spreading awareness, for all those people who have
yes.
lost their lives, and the family members who have lost their loved ones to this horrible, horrible addiction.
And drugs are rampant in our region as other
Yes.
places. And obviously, the states, our state legislators have decided that they're not going to uh, ramble with people and worry about what you did and didn't do. They're just letting you know you are party to it, you're going to go down. So basically, they're telling you best you don't use drugs. You
Mm-hmm.
don't have to worry about being charged with accessory or conspiring. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely.
Because this happens with a lot of people. Uh,
Yes.
they use drugs with people, not saying that she did, but just saying people use drugs with people. Something terrible happens, such as an overdose, seizure, whatever. And then the people panic. Then they take them off somewhere and dump their bodies.
Mm.
They do horrible things. And then
Mm-hmm.
people find their loved ones out in the middle of nowhere, or maybe never found,
Right.
and it's drug related.
Yes, and it's just so much, pain and suffering and
Yeah,
heartache and worry, about, if that person who done that to them, if they would just be honest and be
but they're
a
not because
real
they
person.
know that risk.
Right. Yeah. I know it's just so just it's horrible and selfish and just awful.
Have you seen any type of social media posts from Miss Katie and Mr. Kendall?
No, I sent her a friend's request, but it's not been
Mm.
approved. And I've
Is she
sent
active? Do you know active on
I don't think
Facebook?
so. There's not been any post recently besides like happy birthday.
Okay, so she has a Facebook page.
Uh-huh.
Well, well, I'm going to say something to Katie and Kendall because I love talking to people. Katie Hall, are you listening? And Mr. What's his name again? I'm getting old.
He,
Kendall Rittner.
yeah.
I don't know where you two are, but from the information that Miss Emily has given and spoken to the news, something happened with Miss Spurlock. And I think you know what happened because you asked her for a ride. And so what I'd like to know is how do we go from getting a ride with Miss Spurlock to her being unresponsive and later dying? You drop her off at a fire hall. You do not call 911. You do not take her to the hospital. And then you leave her and take her car and dump her car at a gas station. You had to get from that place to wherever the hell you live in mommy daddy's camper. And you said nothing to the family, never called them to say, your grandmother's sick, ill, she's at the hospital. I do believe one of you made a phone call to the hospital. Am I right, Miss Emily?
Yes, there was
Home?
yeah, there was a anonymous call to the hospital.
You were scared. That's why you called. You was trying to figure out if she was alive or not. But unfortunately for Miss Spurlock, she did not survive. Did you inject Miss Spurlock with a narcotic? That's what I like to know. Have you spoken with the detectives and what have you told them? Are you hiding? And why aren't you posting to social media? Let me tell you something. You cannot hide. We live in a very small area. Knox County, Roane, Anderson, Blount County. Baby. There will be no hiding. And as so long as I have breath in me, I'm going to talk about you on Facebook, IG, YouTube, wherever. So you need not try to hide. You need not try to lie to detectives about what happened to Miss Spurlock. If you injected her with an agent, you need to tell them the truth. If you gave her drugs willingly, you need to tell the truth. Hiding is not going to help because the state has a new law that you can be charged with second-degree murder. Now, do you want to go to prison for whatever the hell happened in that car? And I do believe possibly you set her up deliberately. First of the month, you knew she got monies, and you pretended that you needed a ride to the store when you had no intention of going to a damn store. That's the Queen's assertion. I could be wrong. Money's missing from her purses. You set her up. That's what I believe. You set her up. That's why her fingernails were broken. Nails done the day before. A lot of suspicious behavior. No shoes on her feet. Why? Why is she in the back seat of her car? Why? Katie, can you tell me why? Mr. Rittner, can you tell me why? You can't. You hurt that lady. And these people, the family members, need to stay on the news, the detectives, and tell them I want justice for my grandmother, and I'm not going to rest until I get what I want. Because I believe you all harmed that lady. That's what I believe. And you can't hide. There is no hiding. Anything else, Miss Emily?
I don't think so. I appreciate your time so much.
Anytime. Anybody else want to speak before you check out of here, dear?
I think we're good, but I'm just glad. I'm really glad that, the word is getting out there.
Yes. That's the only way you can get justice, if you stay on it. Because let me tell you something. I've met a lot of people. If you go and look at my other social media page, I have talked to many people in the community who had missing loved ones. I've also gone out to the crime scene of out in Oak Ridge, where a woman was, I believe, held hostage, tortured, kept in a freezer for many months. Went to a crime scene in Knoxville of a young guy who killed his girlfriend in North Knoxville. And he took her off of Dante Road to an abandoned house. Very creepy out there. I'm talking about, I got chills standing out there not too long ago, filming at this desolate house, and she was put in a crawl space in a toolbox.
Goodness. Well, it's awareness, spreading the word of mouth, and
exactly. It's scary what people do to each other. It's scary what man and woman will do to another.
Yeah,
it's very scary. And there are people who are missing. Fortunately, she was found, your grandmother, amen. But many people go missing and they are never found.
Right, and that's
just never found. And it's very scary out here. Yeah. And I want to say this, you care. I've spoken to some people, and I'm going to say this, and they may not like what I'm going to say. I can't tell that some of these family members actually care for their loved one, their attitudes. Yeah, I'm going to say that because I think people need to know what really goes on behind closed doors. A lot of the people don't get out here and network to get the word out about their loved one. You have a missing child, a missing mother, grandmother. You need to stay on the news. You need to stay on social media. You need to be calling TBI. You need to be calling the FBI. You need to be calling the detectives. Let them know that's my loved one, and I'm not going to rest until I see justice done.
Yes, absolutely. And that's how I feel. There's no way I can let it go,
Yeah, don't let it go, sweetheart. Don't do that. Because I know someone right now, they have a whole missing son, and they don't rally, talk, pass out flyers, don't do nothing. Why not? You know what I'm saying?
I know I couldn't imagine not doing nothing. That's for sure.
Yeah, you don't want to wait for it to turn into a cold case. That's not what you want.
Yeah, and the more time that goes on,
that's right. Exactly.
That's going to happen.
Exactly. I'm going to be praying for you and the family. I'm praying for justice. I'm praying that Katie and Kendall decide to tell the truth of what happened to Miss Spurlock. If indeed they harmed her, they tell the truth and take responsibility of what happened to her. It looks suspicious to me because of the state of your grandmother, how she was left, how she was taken to this fire hall, dumped out, no care if she was okay, breathing, anonymous calls to the hospital, never contacting family, dumping her car, missing monies, broken fingernails, needle cap in the car. It's all nefarious to me.
Yes, the list just goes on and
The
on and
list
on.
goes on.
There's too many details for
Too
it,
exactly.
you
And
know.
guess what? I want to thank them for those little details. You understand?
Yes,
Bad
yes,
as it is,
yes,
I want to thank them because it shows that something terrible happened to Miss Burke.
yes, yes. Well, I thank you so much for your time, and I'm sure we will be speaking again.
Yes, you will.
And
Yes, you will. Call me anytime.
I sure will. And you be blessed.
Okay.
Thank you so much
Okay.
for hard
And I
work.
will be reaching out to someone with the news myself.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Bye, sweetheart.
Thank you. Bye bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Have a good day. All right, everybody. That's Miss Emily. Uh, I do know someone that works with the news. I've spoken with her before pertaining to missing persons cases and different types of crimes. And I will be reaching out to that young lady. I will try to get a hold of her if I can. News agents around the area and to ask them what is the problem, because we still have a lot of cases here that I have talked about pertaining to missing persons on this network that you don't hear a damn thing about. And that's the whole point of the story. Fortunately, this lady was not discarded somewhere where nobody could find her. Amen. She was taken to the fire hall. So Katie and Kendall, I want to thank you so much. I'm sure the family is grateful for that one little deed you did by taking Miss Spurlock to the fire hall. Thank you. But what we want to know is what the hell happened to her. You can hide in the little camper and get geeked and run around town and jump from house to house thinking nothing's going to happen, that there won't be justice. Yes, there will be justice because we're going to keep Miss Katrina's name out there. It's not going to go away. And I'm the one that you're really not going to like. My fans can tell you that I don't play fair. I don't have to. I don't have to. I'm a right fighter for the missing. I'm a right fighter for the deceased. I'm a right fighter for the abused and the neglected. I'm going to do that. And I don't give a damn if you live down the street from me, across the hall, wherever. I don't care nothing about you. Because how you just dumped that lady off in her own damn car tells me a lot about your character. And that tells me something nefarious went on inside of her car. I do believe Miss Spurlock was fighting for her life. And I can't even imagine what she was thinking and going through because she trusted you, Katie, Kendall. And as Miss Emily says, oh, we know them. We grew up with them. So imagine the horror on this elderly lady's face when she realizes she's been hoodwinked and bamboozled by people that she trusted, that she went and picked up and put in her car to take to the store. And I've heard that she was a very nice lady and she gave people rides to work, picked them up from work. So imagine her last moments on earth doing good deeds, helping some junkies out. Yeah, I'm saying that. And there's no disrespect to people who use, but I'm talking to you two. I'm talking about nobody else. Two demon seeds. She thinks she's doing a good deed. You call her deliberately to rob her, I believe. Yes. Could I be wrong? Of course. But I believe you called her knowing she had money, either with cash or a debit card, because people do watch. So I keep trying to tell you all, people are always watching. They see you tucking your money in your bra, your ID, telling people you've been shopping. They watch all of that. And I believe Katie knew that Miss Katrina had money first of the month. Hey, I need a ride. And she kindly obliged you and your friend pick you up. And then you put the ball in motion to rob this nearly 70-year-old woman, a little woman at that, petite. You took advantage of her physically, held her down, possibly injected her with something to sedate her. She fought back. She tried to fight back. That's when her nails got broken. And then she was slowly fading in the back seat of her own damn car. Is that how it went, Katie? Kendall. And then you took her to the fire hall and left her there without any concern for her well-being. But of course, you didn't give a fuck about her anyway. That's how the nails got broken. And she just got them done the day before. And in her photographs, oh yes, Queen does her homework. She kept her nails done. And what are the odds she gets in your company and her nails are now broken off? And you left her there. You drove off in her car with her monies. And then you discarded her car at a gas station and went on your merry way. And you never called anyone related to her to tell them that she was unresponsive or fading out. And now you're doing what most guilty people do. You delete, deactivate accounts, stop posting, and you hide out like a rat in a corner. But there'll be no hiding with the Queen. Because I'll post your name every damn day on Facebook and any other network, you and Kendall. I don't care. See, that's the joy of me not knowing you. I don't have a damn thing invested in you. And I don't believe this family has anything invested because they've already lost Miss Spurlock. You heard that, lady. And the law says you will have to pay the piper if you fed her drugs, passed her drugs, ingested drugs with her. Second-degree murder. So if I were you, I would tell the detectives the truth of what happened on that fateful evening. And pray that you can plea bargain with the state if the state decided to bring forward charges. But you did something to her, nefarious. And yes, I do believe you set her up. And sadly, Miss Spurlock is like many people. She was too nice for her own good. You see, those good deeds can cost you your life because everybody's intentions are not well intended. Everybody is not your friend. And you, Katie, Kendall, definitely were not Katrina Spurlock's friends. You were enemies in plain view. Demon seeds, working for the devil for free. Oh, did you not know he don't pay you nothing? So whatever little money you got out of her pocketbook, I hope it was well spent. Because people in the community, you know they talk. Don't go around there. They'll take your money and rob you. As they should say that. So people know next time not to fuck with you. And let me tell you something. What goes around comes around. Be a sad, sad day. We hear that something nasty has happened to one of you. One of you have a nasty little accident. A little needle to the arm. And who will be there when you're sucking on your last breath? No friend, no ambulance, no nurse. It would be a shame now, wouldn't it? Karma's a bitch. Katie Hall! Kendall Redner. I'm watching you. I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. Tell the truth about what happened to Katrina Spurlock. Save yourself so this family can move on, grieve properly. I want to thank everybody for joining me Thank you, Miss Emily. God bless you. Prayers to your family. Prayers for justice. Justice is on the way. I do believe that. I do believe that. I want to thank you all for following this network, for supporting me. Thank you all for watching the earlier live pertaining to Lori Vallow and Carly Russell's boyfriend, ex-boyfriend. Please check out that content from earlier. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $ Big Angie 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are welcome during my live stream. Thank you all for the support. I will be back with more content. I need to talk about Alicia out of North Carolina, who is currently missing, and I want to talk to her boyfriend because I do believe you know what happened to Alicia because you were slumped over in her car, unresponsive. Where do we know that word from? Carly Russell. So we're going to ask you, sir. Unresponsive means you were either not talking to the police or you were inebriated or passed out. Which is it? All roads lead to you. You know what happened to Alicia. I believe you harmed Alicia. They say Alicia was doing very well for herself. And I'm wondering if you were jealous of her, wanted money from her, set her up as well, lured her to Charlotte to rob her, or you all had an argument, she found out something, you had a disagreement, and you killed Alicia. And then you try to play crazy by pretending something was wrong with you when they found you in her car at the DMV. Did it go something like that, sir? I'll be back with more commentary. Thank you for joining me. You have been listening to The Vault XL. Thank you. Thank you all so much.